Have you ever just stopped and thought about what really gives us insight into humanity? Or, where we fit into the grand scheme of things? It feels like we're all looking for something deeper, right?
That's such a core human thing, isn't it? Trying to understand people, society, ourselves. It's this constant journey towards meaning.
Exactly. And that's actually what we're diving into today, right here on the Deep Dive. We're taking a plunge into a real classic, Gulliver's Travels, a satirical odyssey. Now, this isn't just some fantasy story you might remember from childhood.
Oh, definitely not. It's incredibly sharp. It's a journey, really, that's packed with, well, surprising details and some really profound insights about human nature, how societies work or don't work, and that search for meaning you mentioned.
Yeah, so our mission, if you will, is to kind of peel back those layers, look at the sharp wit, the unforgettable situations and characters, and pull out those bits of knowledge.
Right. The idea is to connect Swift's observations, which are surprisingly timeless, to what it means to really understand ourselves and the human condition, hopefully sparking some of those aha moments for you.
And just to be clear, everything we're discussing comes from detailed excerpts pulled directly from Gulliver's Travels, a satirical odyssey itself.
Okay, so let's jump in. First stop, Lilliput.
Right, Lilliput. Can you even imagine? You survive a shipwreck, wake up on a beach, and you literally cannot move. You're tied down by hundreds of tiny threads.
And then you see them, people. But they're barely 6 inches tall. It's Gulliver's first taste of this completely alien world. These huge, helpless.
And totally alone because he can't understand a word they're saying. That initial shock, the helplessness must have been overwhelming.
It's an instant, massive shift in perspective. He goes from being, a capable ship surgeon to this enormous oddity, a spectacle.
And even when they start to, let's say, trust him a little, he's still basically chained up, right? Still an outsider. Some even shoot tiny arrows at him.
Yeah, not exactly a warm welcome from everyone. And this is where Swift immediately starts digging in with a satire, isn't it? The politics.
Oh, the politics. It's brilliant. How do people get promoted in Lilliput? Not based on skill or wisdom or anything sensible.
It's based on how well they can dance on a tightrope. Acrobatics. The ones who can jump the highest without falling get the big jobs.
It's just so absurd. But it makes you think, doesn't it, about how our own systems sometimes reward, performance or showmanship over actual substance.
Exactly. It's a critique of arbitrary systems, how easily the unqualified can rise based on, jumping through hoops, sometimes literally. It really holds up a mirror to how power can work or fail to work.
And the things they fight about. I mean, seriously, there's this huge internal conflict, deep divisions in their society.
Over which end of an egg to crack? The big end or the little end?
Right. The big Endians versus the little Endians. And it's not just an argument. It leads to actual war with their neighbors, Blefuscu, over the very same issue.
It's the ultimate example of triviality blown completely out of proportion. Swift is just masterfully showing how minor differences, often based on some decree from ages ago, can fuel massive conflict.
And Gulliver becomes this, war hero because he wades into the channel between the islands and just tows the entire enemy fleet away, single-handedly ends the war.
Which, again, highlights the absurdity. But it also sets up something darker, doesn't it? This moment of heroism.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting and kind of sad, actually. There's a fire in the royal palace. It's raging. Gulliver's there, and he sees a way to put it out quickly.
A rather unconventional way.
Extremely unconventional. He urinates on the fire, puts it out, saves the palace. A desperate act, maybe undignified but effective. You'd think they'd be grateful.
You would think. But no, he saved the building, yes, but he also broke a law against public urination within the palace grounds.
And this becomes the pretext for his downfall. The emperor starts listening to advisors who were already jealous of Gulliver. They resented his influence, sure, but also
his appetite. He ate as much as 1,700 Lilliputians. He was literally draining their resources.
So fueled by this jealousy, this fear of his power, and using the urination incident as an excuse, they plot against him. They decide to blind him and then starve him slowly.
And Gulliver overhears this. He hears them whispering, planning his demise, these tiny figures trembling with fear of his size, even as they plot his destruction. It's such a powerful moment about ingratitude.
Absolutely. It's that sting of betrayal after you've sacrificed something or done something heroic, how quickly fear and envy can twist things.
So Lilliput, despite the tiny scale, it shows us these Universal human failings, right? Petty arguments, political backstabbing, the way loyalty can just evaporate when faced with fear.
It's a potent reminder of how absurd and cruel people can be, no matter their size, and how fragile gratitude is. A tough lesson.
A very tough lesson. It makes you reflect on, where you find value, who you trust.
Okay, so from the land of the tiny, we go completely the other way.
To Brobdingnag, land of the giants. And now the roles are totally reversed.
Right. Gulliver is washed ashore again, but this time he's the tiny one. He gets found by this farmer who is, like 60 feet tall?
At least. And the farmer initially treats him like a curiosity, maybe a pest, then realizes he can make money off him.
So Gulliver becomes a circus act, displayed for money, forced to perform tricks. He talks about being utterly exhausted, nearly starved, the sheer strain of it all.
It sounds horrific. But then his luck changes somewhat.
Yeah, the queen sees him, and she's fascinated. She buys him from the farmer.
And this is where we see a different side to this giant world. The queen is actually kind to him. She has this tiny custom-made house built for him. A little bed.
And there's this specific, very touching detail, isn't there? About a quilt.
Yes. The queen apparently uses her own hands, these enormous hands, to carefully craft a tiny patchwork quilt for him. She tucks him in like a doll or a child at this unexpected moment of tenderness.
It really stands out, especially after the exploitation by the farmer. It shows that compassion can exist even across such huge differences in scale, maybe where you least expect it.
It challenges Gulliver's own assumptions, too. He probably expected these giants to be monstrous.
Definitely. And this leads to another key part of this voyage, his conversations with the king of Brobdingnag.
Right. Gulliver, trying to impress the king, starts describing England. He talks about its history, its government, its wars, its achievements.
He's probably quite proud initially, but the king's reaction is not what he expects.
Not at all. The king listens to all these stories of conquest, political intrigue, corruption, violence, and he's genuinely horrified. He basically asks Gulliver how such tiny, insignificant creatures, that's how he sees humans, could be capable of such widespread cruelty and destruction.
He calls them the most pernicious race of little odious vermin that nature ever suffered to crawl upon the surface of the earth. Strong words.
Incredibly strong. And hearing his own society described back to him through this vastly different moral perspective, Gulliver feels shame. He starts to see the flaws, the ugliness in his own world that he'd never fully acknowledged before.
So this raises a really important point for us, doesn't it? How does seeing ourselves, our society, through a completely different lens, a much larger, perhaps morally clearer lens, force us to confront our own issues?
It's like holding up a giant mirror. It forces you to question things you take for granted, the normal ways societies operate, the justifications for conflict. It's deeply humbling.
It makes you realize how relative everything is. Our great achievements might look like petty squabbles from far enough away.
A powerful dose of perspective. Okay, shall we move on to the third voyage?
Let's. This one's quite different again. Laputa, the flying island.
Ah, yes, Laputa. Ruled by intellectuals, obsessed with two things, mathematics and music, to the exclusion of almost everything else.
And they're literally detached, aren't they? The island floats above the land. The people are so lost in thought
that they need servants, called flappers, carrying inflated bladders on sticks. And their job is literally to gently hit their masters on the mouth or ears to remind them to speak or listen.
It's bizarre. And their eyes, too. Swift describes their eyes as being misaligned. One points inward, the other points up towards the zenith.
Symbolizing that intense inward focus and their obsession with the abstract, the celestial, completely ignoring the grounded reality below.
And below them, there are lands and cities that Laputa oppresses, controls by, hovering over them, blocking the sun and rain, or even threatening to crush them.
A stark contrast, isn't it? This supposed high-minded intellectualism used as a tool of domination. Gulliver sees the squalor and suffering on the ground, and he's appalled by the disconnect.
It really critiques knowledge without wisdom, doesn't it? Intellect completely divorced from practical application or empathy.
And then there's the Academy of Projectors he visits down below, in Balnabarby, which is under Laputa's control.
Oh, the Academy. It's just peak absurdity. Scientists working on the most ridiculous, pointless projects.
Like trying to extract sunbeams from cucumbers.
Or attempting to turn human excrement back into food.
Or building houses from the roof down. It's Swift mocking that kind of obsessive, impractical scientific pursuit that loses all touch with reality and actual human needs. Innovation just for the sake of it.
But there's also a real human cost to this obsession, shown in a quieter moment.
Yes, the Laputian wife. Gulliver sees one woman just weeping, completely alone and ignored, while her husband is lost in some complex mathematical problem.
It's heartbreaking. It speaks volumes about the loneliness and isolation that can come from that kind of single-minded obsession, whether it's intellectual or technological or anything else. It feels quite modern, actually.
Very relatable. That feeling of being disconnected even when you're physically near someone. So Laputa makes us ask ourselves, right,
Yeah. Are we, in our own time, sometimes guilty of the same thing? Getting so caught up in abstract ideas or tech or just chasing prestige that we lose sight of what's happening around us, the real needs, the emotional lives of people?
it challenges us to think about the purpose of knowledge, the purpose of progress. Is it serving humanity, or is it creating new forms of isolation? It's about seeking balance, perhaps, finding meaning and connection, not just abstraction.
A crucial question. Okay, final voyage. And this one. This one hits hard.
The land of the Hunnams. This is often seen as the most profound and maybe the most disturbing part of the book.
Definitely. Gulliver finds himself in a land governed by horses, but not just any horses.
Hedemans. They are intelligent, rational, noble creatures. They embody virtue. Their society is based entirely on reason and truth. There's no conflict, no greed, no deceit.
Their language literally doesn't have a word for lie. The closest they can come is to say the thing which is not.
It's presented as a kind of utopia. Orderly, peaceful, rational. But there's another side to this land.
Yes, living alongside, or rather, subservient to the Hunnams, are the Yahoos.
And the Yahoos are. Well, they're brutish, hideous creatures that look disturbingly human. They're filthy, greedy, violent, driven by base instincts.
They are the stark, unavoidable, and deeply unflattering mirror held up to humanity.
Exactly. The Houyhnhnms observe Gulliver, compare him to the Yahoos, and conclude that humans are essentially Yahoos, but worse. Because humans use their sliver of reason, their cunning, to make tools and organize, which makes their inherent Yahoo-ness far more destructive.
They even tell Gulliver about an experiment they did. They left out some food, and the Yahoos fought savagely over it, even when there was enough for everyone. Just pure, irrational greed and aggression.
It's a devastating critique. And Gulliver, he sees it too. He starts to internalize this view.
He becomes completely captivated by the Houyhnhnms. He admires their virtue, their rationality, so much that he starts to despise his own species, including himself. He desperately wants to stay there, to live among them, to be like them.
He finds his ideal, the perfect society, the embodiment of reason and peace. But then comes the crushing blow.
The Houyhnhnms, in their perfect reason, decide he can't stay. He's too much like a Yahoo physically. They worry he might somehow lead the Yahoos or corrupt their own society, so they banish him.
Imagine that. Finding the place you believe you truly belong, the ideal you've searched for, only to be rejected by it, told you're fundamentally unfit.
It's profound alienation, the ultimate rejection. What does that do to a person's search for meaning, for belonging?
It shatters it. And the return journey, his arrival back in England, is just painful to read.
He can't stand the sight or smell of humans. His own family repulses him because they remind him of Yahoos. He feels completely disconnected from his own world.
He ends up retreating to the stables, preferring the company of horses, trying to talk to them, unable to reconcile the Houyhnhnm ideal with the flawed reality of humanity.
And that final image, when he's leaving the Houyhnhnms' island, a young colt follows him to the shore.
Yeah, it nuzzles his hand like a silent plea for him to stay, or maybe just a simple gesture of connection. It's incredibly poignant. It symbolizes that lost ideal, that longing for belonging, and the deep, deep pain of feeling utterly alienated from your own kind because you've seen something better.
This last voyage really forces the issue, doesn't it? It makes us confront the uncomfortable truths about human nature, our potential for vice, for irrationality, for harm. And it shows the emotional devastation of seeing those flaws so clearly through the lens of pure reason.
It leaves you with that lingering, difficult question. Where do we belong? Can we accept our imperfect nature? Can we strive for ideals without being destroyed when reality falls short?
So, wrapping this deep dive up, Gulliver's Travels is clearly so much more than just adventure stories.
Absolutely. It's this incredibly sharp, enduring satire. It holds that mirror up to us, our absurdities, our follies, our capacity for cruelty.
But it's not just negative, is it? Through the horror, through the satire, we also glimpse moments of compassion, like the Brobdingnagian queen. We see that deep yearning for a better way, like Gulliver's desire to stay with the Houyhnhnms.
And it highlights the incredible power of shifting your perspective, how seeing things from a different scale or a different moral framework can lead to profound self-discovery, even if it's painful.
So this exploration wasn't just about analyzing a book from the 18th century. It was about challenging you, our listener, to think about your own world, your society, your perspectives, what you value.
It underscores how relative our normal really is, how our values, our assumptions might look completely different, even absurd from another point of view. It pushes you towards more critical self-awareness, hopefully leading to a richer understanding of what gives life meaning.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. In this world where we are all, in our own ways, searching for meaning, for connection, maybe the most important journey isn't outward to fantastical lands. Maybe it's inward.
Confronting our own inner yahoos.
Exactly. And maybe appreciating the whims, the moments of reason and kindness we find around us. And perhaps, just perhaps, questioning the egg-cracking wars, those trivial conflicts that divide us.
So the question for you is, what ideal land do you long for? And maybe more importantly, what small, real steps can you take right here, right now, to help build a little piece of it, even amidst all the absurdity?